Anyone checked on egg prices recently?
I think I just bought 18 eggs at Sprouts, and I think it costs $6, but I don't know if that's way too low given what people are saying they cost these days.
That might actually be on the low end. So if Sprouts is selling 18 eggs for $6, that's not.
They did,
terrible.
however, have a limit of 48 eggs per person, which I took a picture of.
That is exactly what I
it.
wanted to talk about. So as we somehow end up doing on many segments on the show, let's circle back to one of America's most important institutions, Waffle House.
Big fan.
Last week, Waffle House announced that because of skyrocketing egg prices, there will now be a 50-cent per egg surcharge when you order egg dishes from their restaurants. We have the picture of the announcement they sent out there, as well as a picture of the sticker they've added to menus. It talks about, the continuing shortage caused by the bird flu has caused a dramatic increase in egg prices. Consumers and restaurateurs are being forced to make difficult decisions. When you consider how much of the Waffle House menu is based around eggs, you realize how much.
Can I interrupt?
Who are they writing that letter to?
Can I interrupt? Like talking about evil they them. Like they got bailed out in 2008. I think we should bail out Waffle House.
Yeah.
Why can't we put that together? Give them a bailout so they can keep their menu price.
I've never eaten at Waffle House.
I've eaten there
Really?
once
I'm a
after,
Denny's guy. Lumberjack slam all day. Denny's is way better than Waffle House.
No, how could you?
Because I see the garbage human beings that eat at Waffle House, and I see the high-class people that dine at Denny's. And those are better people.
Now, Waffle House is great because it's all the classic diner food of a Denny's, but also with the added edge of you might get shot.
Well,
while
that's
you're eating
every
there.
video I've ever seen on World Star Hip Hop starts with some white guy ordering eggs, and then a bunch of dudes come around, and then they start yelling, then a weave gets thrown. And then
What kind of dudes, Rob?
World Star! And then I go, why am I watching this?
The first and only time I've ever eaten at a Waffle House was after a Tim Pool episode it was in West Virginia, and we went at like midnight, and
with the Tim Pool crowd?
Yeah, and I'm fairly certain
Waffle House
Pavlovsky was there as well, and he had a bodyguard. And
Wait, the guy from Rumble?
Yeah, we did an episode out there together at one point back in time. It's delicious because they have it down to a science in terms of how they make it. Mm-hmm. It's freaking delicious. Just absolutely got to go.
That guy's a billionaire now, just so you know. So you went and ate a meal with a bunch of very nice people that just happen to live on a compound, correct? It's a compound.
It's a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah,
as to
okay.
what
So
they're
you go with
there.
a cult to go to Waffle House, and then you have Waffle House waffles with a billionaire that owns Rumble.
Well, at the time, the stock was less than what it was now. But no, Chris and I are very close. By the way, Chris got to ask the inaugural question from the new media seat at the White House earlier today. I don't know if anybody saw that. Amazing. The first time anybody gets an introduction by the White House press secretary, Chris Pavlovsky, whatever. Okay, sorry.
I thought I saw a guy from Breitbart there a few weeks ago. There was a guy from Breitbart that asked a question because they introduced the new media seat and they went to the guy from Breitbart.
Yeah, there's been a rotating
because at one point Alex Jones
media.
was saying, "I've been invited. Should I go?"
Oh, that'd be great.
I've applied. I want to go, but we've hijacked the conversation here.
Go back to the eggs.
By the way, eggs. The important thing, like in a time of crisis, you hide gold up your butt, and in this time of crisis, the eggs come out of a chicken butt. But all right, that could have been the second segue.
There you go. But yes, here is, according to eggprices.org, which checks prices every 12 hours to give you the average. The current average price for a dozen large grade A eggs, $7.43.
What are they normally?
Significantly lower than that.
Oh, I could see it by the chart, but like what? Yeah. I got to be honest. I haven't grocery shopped in 20 years.
Really?
$2.50 for a dozen eggs normally?
I have a wife, and she doesn't even grocery shop now. Poor Guatemalans.
Well, actually, check
not for long.
So
this is getting. My wife shops at home, and she's not even doing that because the Guatemalans are doing it.
I wasn't mad about it. I was just stating every person that's shown up from.
Can we bring back the graph for the price of eggs?
Yeah.
By the way?
So go back to the graph
because if I want to overlay that one with the price of gold, I swear to you, it would be a perfect trace line.
You're right.
But if you look at this chart here, it breaks it down by state. The Hawaiians are screwed because eggs there are $9.73 for a dozen.
Oh,
eggs.
green is the highest?
Red is the highest.
Okay.
Florida is number 2. We're beating California.
You were looking at Alaska and thought Alaska was Hawaii?
I had a...
That's so great. You're so smart. But then you looked and you thought Alaska was Hawaii.
Well, yeah, because it's farther over that way, but... Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But-
It
I had a
doesn't make
whoopsie.
sense. Why would they not be able to supply their own eggs on the island of Hawaii? Like they got chickens out there. They're wild chickens out there.
I don't know, man. But I know, I don't know what the Hawaiians got going on. But on the subject of wild birds, we have to address why this is happening because
Trump, obviously.
yeah, and if you checked the media headlines, they're saying it's Trump.
Yes.
They covered for Bidenflation for like 2.5 years.
Well, they told us the
saying-
economy was
Yeah.
good.
The economy is good.
food
and-
price
Egg
hikes.
price hike.
the new record high for eggs prior to the $7.43 it hit just this last January. In December, under Biden still, it climbed up to like $4.15, and everyone was freaking out saying that was ridiculous. But economists are saying it'll actually continue to get higher. And now, after denying that Biden had anything to do with it, they're quick to say, "Oh, Trump is causing all these problems. Trump is destroying the economy and making eggs more expensive." And if you remember on the campaign trail, Trump made lowering egg costs a major campaign talking point. So this is proving to be something of a politically fraught subject for them, because if egg prices go higher than $7.43, they're kind of looking at a rough time. But let's figure out why this is happening. Did you guys know that there has technically been an undeclared pandemic raging
Yes.
since 2022? It's avian flu.
Yeah.
It was first detected in Europe in 2022, moved over here. It's infected birds. It's infected cattle. There was a big cat sanctuary that had to put down a bunch of tigers and cheetahs and stuff.
Well, we
because,
talked
yeah,
about the people.
ostriches.
Yeah,
in
the
Canada.
ostriches
I'm
in
gonna get
Canada.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why I'm glad you were on, because I think you actually have an update on the
there-
ostrich situation.
Well, no, you keep going because this is a manufactured crisis.
Yes.
Because they're slaughtering birds and slaughtering chickens
Yep.
under the pretext of the
Exactly.
H5N1. One case in Canada of H5N1 in a human who didn't get it from chickens, and we'll get to the ostriches.
Yeah,
in a bit.
since 2022, they have slaughtered 145 million birds, which I don't even know how you do that. Like we were talking about a couple weeks ago about the difficulty of slaughtering 400 ostriches. How do you kill 1 million of anything, let alone 145 million? These are mostly egg-laying hens, but also other kinds of chickens used for meat, turkeys, ducks, geese.
They are, and I say they, Humberto, it is the globalists, sons of bitches, are trying to create mass starvation, and they're trying to reduce the world's population. They're implementing policy which is designed to create man-made famine, much like the Russians did during the Holodomor of the 30s. And they will successfully cause tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people to starve to death, except it's going to be in certain parts of the world, the disenfranchised parts of the world. And so these globalist POSs are, in fact, racist, genocidal maniacs to boot. Sorry. I didn't mean
Of
to-
course. No, don't apologize. It's a discussion-based show. Viva, please chime in.
I'm sorry, forget
I don't know if you know how we do
Canadian in me.
things around here. but-
Globalist is too wide. Like, how about if I declare myself a globalist right now? Am I part of the club?
Did you get invited to Davos?
I maybe. I don't
Well,
know.
if you did, then you're a globalist.
Well, I
If
know
you
a guy
didn't,
that got invited to Davos. He didn't go, but does that make him a globalist if you get invited?
globalist adjacent. But no, we know who the globalists are. You're talking about the World Health Organization, the WEF affiliated organisms. Basically, a lot of the big entities take in USAID funds. I mean, these are the globalist institutions that have policy that they're trying to implement and cloak it in. It's just for your own protection.
It's the same ones responsible for locking us down during COVID and the last pandemic. Everybody remembers, or at least I hope everybody remembers, that as the COVID pandemic was winding down, they were starting to run experiments on how to prepare for the next pandemic. They called it Disease X. And that they were doing all these exercises of like, what's the disease going to be? What is our response? And one of the things they were looking at was apparently avian flu. Funnily enough, there's an avian flu outbreak right after that. But
Didn't they do the monkeypox?
Yeah,
too?
I was-
They
I
were
was
like,
just-
yeah, but that was only for the gays.
yeah,
well, that was the thing.
that was
We-
politically incorrect. So the avian flu gets everybody.
We were really worried about monkeypox that was spreading at gay bathhouse orgies, which are apparently a thing. Nobody knew about that until that happened.
Oh, I brought that one.
And then we were supposed to talk about, monkeypox or mpox because monkey was racist for some reason. But
No, it was actually the stigma of
Yeah.
it affecting a certain demographic.
Yes.
So they went with mpox.
But as soon as these cases that are primarily found only in gay bathhouse orgies started popping up in children and dogs, we stopped talking about monkeypox altogether, and that was the last time anybody heard about it. So, I mean, clearly that one wasn't the disease X they were looking for. But they are very clearly doing this behind the scenes because they're not trying to have another COVID lockdown. But the new method of social control, I would argue, is destroying the food supply. They are locking down our food rather than locking down the people.
Where the hell's PETA in all of? By the way, just play back all of the ones we had. Mpox, we had Ebola, we had Zika back in the day. That one was the one that was going to kill everybody.
Tuberculosis now, and somehow that's RFK's fault, even though he's
and the outbreak of tuberculosis. What is it, like a half dozen, 3 or 4 people? The measles outbreak in Atlanta.
A few dozen people in a border state came down with diseases that have been eradicated here, but run rampant in the third world. Can't imagine why.
No,
and
who are they not checking vaccination status on? Illegal aliens. But if you want to come down legally, you got to get your double jibby jab. They are absolutely. Remember when Bill Gates said, "Well, with the interruption of the supply chains, as many as 300 million people might starve to death. That's going to give us they know exactly what they're doing. You get your European farmers, or at least the government, trying to force the farmers to kill their cattle to save methane gases. You got Justin Trudeau talking about taxing cow farts up in Canada. It is by design to cause modern-day starvation. And when you look at what happened in Soviet Russia, you can see exactly how it happens in real time, even among, quote, civilized countries.
And you look at the methods they use to determine that these things are happening. They wait till one chicken dies somewhere, use a PCR test, which is, as we all remember from COVID, completely unreliable. Like PCR tests, you might as well just flip a coin and decide positive, negative.
No, the PCR test will consistently give you false positives. Flipping a coin will be random.
Yeah. So they just completely make it up. And then, this one dead chicken tested positive for avian flu. Go slaughter the entire population. How do you know any of them have avian flu? Well, we can't test them until they're dead. Real convenient.
Scary thing is, too, that, Biden didn't make that decision, just like the thing that Speaker Johnson talked about. So, I mean, yeah, there's some creep in there that told them to do this, but I think it's higher than Bill Gates. It's higher than Soros. Like, I think that those guys ultimately work for people that we don't know about, like I said before.
Is that the they?
Yeah.
And the who?
Yep.
Man, it's killing me.
But also, just to bring, if I may, an update in the Canadian situation, because they had this CFIA, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, goes to visit the ostrich farm and says, a bunch of your ostriches died, and we test them. We test 2 of them. PCR, anal, and mouth swabs in a dead ostrich. Tested positive. Slaughter all of your 400-plus ostriches. They went to court, got an injunction.
Why are they swabbing their anuses?
For fun.
There's so many jokes. But by the way,
Canadians are weird.
If you all want to get freaked out, go watch a video of an ostrich laying an egg. It'll blow your freaking mind. They got an injunction.
No thanks.
Dude, you'll do it. You're going to go down the ostrich egg rabbit hole.
I will do it. I'm sorry.
They got a court order enjoining the order, so they don't have to slaughter the ostriches. Federal government says, no. The courts don't have jurisdiction over us. The judge exceeded his jurisdiction by issuing the injunction to restrain the slaughter of the ostriches, and they're pushing for it. Ostriches, which were not intended for human consumption, are basically quarantined in any event. They're trying to trigger a mass starvation event, and the West won't be the one to suffer from it because we'll be able to afford and whatever. It'll be developing nations that are going to suffer the most.
The thing I recommend for the ostrich farmers is, you want to kill them? Open the gate. Open the gate and let them out and make it somebody else's problem.
No, then the problem. Those things will go around just killing. It'll be like
Really?
28. No, ostriches are
vicious.
When I lived in
dangerous
Ohio,
animals.
there was a guy that owned a farm. He owned a zoo in his backyard, and that was legal. I don't know if anybody remembers this story.
This was
2010 or 11. The guy I think he killed himself, and he opened up the pens to all of the animals and killed himself. And we were on the radio at the time, and there were all kinds of zoo animals walking around the street. People were like, "Watch out for tigers!" And all right, we have to move on. But great segment. Is that it? Are we good on the eggs?
That's pretty much the point. I did have one final thing
Go ahead.
to show here. The joke of the day. The bird flu. Yeah, they tend to do that.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.